Hello, my name is Darren Thomas. I am the Director of Educational Research Techniques. In this video, we're going to take a look at more trigonometric functions. So let's go ahead and get started. So you can see here I have my unit circle, and we have t here, angle t, whatever you want to call it, and our xy coordinates, we know them this time, is x is going to be square root of 2 over 2 and y is going to be square root of 2 over 2. And so as you know, the sign of t in this particular situation, because we've already talked about this in the past, so we don't have to re-explain it. The sine t is going to equal, let's see here, the y value, which is going to be square root of 2 over 2, and cosine t is going to be the x value, and that's also going to be square root of 2 over 2. They're just the same in this particular situation. So these are the first two trigonometric functions that we've used in the past and that we're familiar with. However, there are four other ones that we're going to take a look at in this particular video, like I've already mentioned. So, and these are, I'm just going to say them verbally for now: tangent, secant, cotangent, and cosecant. That's what they are. So let's start with tangent. Tangent, if I had to try to explain this to you in a simple manner, tangent is kind of as the follows. So it's, TAN for short. And tangent is basically a ratio of the y value over the x value. Or another way you could say that is the sine of t, because sine of t deals with the y value, sine deals with y, and cosine of t, which deals with the x value. So if we look at our example here, just doing some basic math, nothing fancy, nothing deep, we basically have sine of t on top, which for us is going to be square root of 2 over 2. Divided by, let me just do it the long way first, over square root of 2 over 2. Now this also equals square root of 2 over 2 multiplied by 2 over square root of 2. You can see that because division, as you already know, if you want to do division of two fractions, you multiply them, but you take the reciprocal of the second one. This is something we talked about a long time ago. So let's finish this thought here. If we do this accordingly, now we have 2 times the square root of 2 over 2 times the square root of 2. Well, these cancel out, and we're left with 1. So in this particular example, the tangent is 1. That's the ratio of the y value and the x value, are the ratio between sine of t and cosine of t. Not that deep. So we're going to go ahead and move to the next slide here. Another one that we commonly see is the cotangent. Now, the cotangent is just the tangent in reverse. So it's the reciprocal of the tangent, if you will. So to make it as clear as possible, the cotangent, I don't know the shorthand for this one. I'm sure there's a shorthand for this one. But the cotangent is going to be not y over x, but x over y. So for our purposes, that's the same as saying cosine of t over sine of t. And so to continue with that thought here, we know that cosine of t is square root of 2 over 2 divided by square root of 2 over 2. And we've seen this before, so is it really necessary to solve the whole thing now? But, just to make it thorough, why not? So that's the same as square root of 2 over 2 multiplied by 2 over square root of 2. So you got 2 over square root of 2, 2 over square root of 2, put the line here, cancel out, and we're right back to 1. So in this particular example, the tangent and the cotangent have the same value. Let's continue to the next one. Now, another one that we commonly see, we've done, let's see here, 1, 2, 3. We've done sine, cosine, tangent, cotangent. So we're going to talk about secant. So secant is basically going to be 1 over x. Oh, let me put that. Not cosecant, secant. There's a big difference. So secant 1 over x, or you can say 1 over cosine of t, whatever your t value is. Remember, when I say t, I'm referring to this unit circle right here. That's what I'm referring to. So if I wanted to do this, it would be 1 over the square root of 2 over 2. And if I put that, it'd be like 1 over 1 times 2 over the square root of 2. You can kind of see where this is going. So let's see here. The cosecant, and so is that correct? No, secant. Let's see here, secant. So you can kind of see what's going on here. You got 2 over the square root of 2. Now we're not quite done because, normally we don't like to have radicals in the denominator, so we rationalize the denominator, excuse me. So we multiply by square root of 2, multiply by square root of 2. And so now I end up with 2 times the square root of 2 over 2. These cancels out, and I'm left with square root of 2 as my answer. So the secant in this particular situation, when we're dealing with a unit circle like this, where the coordinates are square root of 2 over 2, square root of 2 over 2, the secant is square root of 2. Again, it's just another ratio, another way of comparing the different sides, if you will. Now, let's see here. We've done sine, cosine, tangent, cotangent, secant. The last one is cosecant. And so cosecant, this one, instead of having 1 over x, which is what we did with the secant, we do 1 over y. And so that means we do 1 over sine of t. Again, going back to my original unit circle here. So that means if we continue this logic that we're going to have 1 over, you guessed it, square root of 2 over 2. And again, that's going to be like 1 over 1 times 2 over the square root of 2. This should all look familiar. And so you could probably tell that the answer is going to be square root of 2 again. I have to solve the whole thing out. And you can see how that kind of works out there. So these are the different trigonometric functions, excuse me. Now, the ones that we most commonly use are sine, cosine, and tangent. However, as we get into more advanced ideas and calculations, these other functions will become much, much more valuable. However, for now, we're just going to introduce them. We're not going to try to prove how they work or anything, but we're just going to lay a foundation that we will build upon in future lessons. So let me just kind of wrap up what we did today and then conclude the video. So in this video, we took a look at the other trigonometric functions. In particular, we took a look at tangent, cotangent, secant, and cosecant. All of these are based off information we know about sine and cosine. So for example, tangent is basically, sine of t, sine over cosine. That's basically how tangent is defined. And so once you know that, you can calculate it. And this information will be valuable in the future, just trust me. Cotangent is the opposite. It's the reciprocal of the tangent. So instead of having sine over cosine, you have cosine over sine. And so you can see that right there. Secant is basically where you take cosine, you find a reciprocal of cosine. So cosine is, cosine over 1, if you will. Well, secant is 1 over cosine. And so again, you can do the calculations as follows. And then secant is just the reciprocal of sine. So instead of having sine over 1, if you will, you have 1 over sine. And then you can, of course, calculate as necessary. So I hope this video was useful for you and you were able to understand what we talked about. My name is Darren Thomas. I am the Director of Educational Research Techniques. Take care.